Canada's housing situation is so bad that people are exchanging sex for a place to live. CBC Marketplace just went undercover and found ads where men are literally offering free housing if young women agree to friends with benefits arrangements. Some even threw in free groceries and shopping money as if this were some kind of twisted Costco bundle. And this is not hidden. These posts are right there on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. One ad on Craigslist offered a warm bed, but only if you're a young, petite female looking to escape the cold. This story picked up a lot of steam online, and a lot of people are saying, like, what's the big deal? It's just two consenting adults making an agreement. And I'm not gonna lie, these were my exact thoughts at first, before I dove into the details. So let me paint the picture of what's really going on in good old Canada. Canada is experiencing a true housing crisis. The cost of living is choking people, rent is through the roof, students are drowning in tuition and grocery bills, and international students, they're in the most vulnerable position, far away from home, broke, usually with no safety net. So predators see this desperation and flip it into opportunity. You can't afford rent? No problem. Just bend over. Most of you already know this because you lived through 2020, but in times of economic hardship, there's always going to be the people who take advantage, and that's what these landlords are doing. In the investigation that I mentioned before by CBC, they had reporters responding to the ads to see if they were real. And spoiler alert, yes, they were real. I would not waste your time making this video if this was fake. But yeah, so they reached out to these landlords that put out these skeevy ads looking for young women to inhabit their houses for sexual favors, including the guy that was offering the warm bed for a petite female, and a landlord looking for a cute, fun female to help me relax. Translation, rent is free if you sleep with me. And what they found is that in order to start these sex for rent arrangements, some of the landlords would ask the women to send nudes to prove they were young and attractive enough to earn the free rent. One guy in particular told the woman that her application for free rent would be to go there and give him head. Do you see the power trip that these guys are on right now? And that's why we gotta talk about the morality of this, right? Us guys, we tend to put way too much logic into these decisions that are actually emotional and fear-based decisions on behalf of the women. And that's why we could never be women. Like, we would make some pretty cheap whores. Like, in our minds, we think, well, they made an agreement and they're both adults, get that free rent that you agreed to. And like I said, I thought this way too. But the nuance of this whole thing is, one, these landlords are picking their tenants very carefully, purposefully targeting students who seemingly have no other options, and in some cases, they threaten the women with deportation if they don't sleep with them. Like in the case of international students that are looking for a place to stay for cheap, they basically tell them you're going to be in this situation or I'm going to report you and you're going to get sent out of this country. So they get trapped in these less than ideal situations. And I think that's very important to consider, as well as the obvious one that is like, this is not legal. It is a crime. What's weird is that in Canada, they don't charge people for selling sexual services, but they will charge you for buying them. And that means that technically what these landlords are doing with these agreements is illegal. And that's why everything stays at a conversational level. There's no contracts, there's no leases. It's just kind of a verbal agreement, which makes it an even more shady situation if you're the tenant because you're literally at their whim with no kind of legal backing, no paper trail, no nothing. It's just your word against his. So what if one day you decide that you don't want to sleep with this man anymore? Maybe when you initially agreed to it, you were down on your luck and now you have the money to pay month by month. So what happens in this situation? Well, we actually have examples from the investigation. One tenant said that her landlord would cut off the heat, cut off the water, cut off the electricity, if she refused his advances. He was basically telling her, like, no, we are going to have sex. Like, this is what's going to happen. If you're going to live here, you're having sex with me. So yeah, if it gets to the point where you're forcing someone into having sex with you by cutting off their living necessities or kicking them out, my guy, that is no longer consent, that is the R word. So yeah, this is a bit deeper than two adults just making a deal. If your body becomes the price of the roof over your head, that's not a living arrangement. That is literally exploitation dressed up as generosity. And I think that these are very important factors to consider, especially with the discourse online being that, oh yeah, well, women get everything for free. But like, it's not really free. Like, these landlords are being predatory and they're purposefully selecting victims, like people that are very down on their luck and they feel like they have no other choice. But yeah, I thought the situation in Canada was pretty wild. I didn't see many people talking about it. So let me know your thoughts on it and subscribe if you ever want to see me again. Shokin!